I started at ILM at 1998 in the R&D group doing computer vision work, and then in 2002 I became head of the department, and we've been working on all range of computer graphics problems and mocap problems and so on. Then in 2008 I shifted to focus wider on Lucasfilm, so that involves all the companies. You know, ILM is still the big one in terms of R&D, but there's also gaming and feature animation, and then some special projects for George. Well, I guess in the late 90s, about all that you could do was motion capture, kind of traditional motion capture on a stage. There was no real-time preview. You were able to capture good data, but then it was an offline process. So the whole interactive component of virtual production really didn't exist, other than you could probably do a dedicated kind of wheels device going into a game engine of that day. Very primitive stuff. And today, I'm sure will look very primitive compared to 10 years from now, but we've at least gotten motion captured to be real-time for the body. We've got it close to being real-time for the face. Facial's fairly high fidelity now, so actors should be able to act kind of in a mirror and see their creature. We can take things out on set at times. Other things aren't quite ready to be taken out on set. Certainly virtual camera is being used a lot. And then the look and complexity of the scenes is pretty good right now. It needs to get a lot better to really fulfill the potential. We wait for the shows to come and tell us what are the important things to work on, or they become the occasion to start a major project. And we try to make sure it works for this show, and that helps us keep from building things that don't work. So we have a very high percentage of things that actually get used, which is good and can be a real danger for us. But that being said, we know that there are certain trends. So things like digital actors or these motion capture issues, they're going to be more and more frequent on more and more shows, and so we try to be a little bit proactive about those, especially things that have to be used early in a show. So for example, motion capture, if you're going to have an on-set motion capture technique, that needs to work before the show even starts shooting. Whereas a simulation technique or lighting technique could be developed during the whole course of the show and may not be finished until the very end. So there's this odd balance between being proactive in some areas and being a little bit reactive in other areas. But the thing I can say is that everything we do, we intend to be reused. So even if we do it for a show, it's meant to be used on all the shows. That communication gap has been a problem in the past and leads to a lot of wasted work. So these virtual techniques that are fundamentally interactive and fundamentally about seeing any CG elements along with the live action elements means that you can have people participating in that result versus handing off results. And that means what the director wants to see, they can see a more accurate and complete version of it, work through in their head first, bring that to the conversation, and then more people are participating in that conversation kind of together to get to a result. So that creative vision is much more complete and pure from compared to the old handoff days. Battleship is a great example of water simulation. So we've done water simulation for years and years on many shows, but the complexity and the volume on Battleship was just huge. So we had to get much more efficient. And even though it's just an efficiency goal and a little bit of a new look goal, that's still just as difficult a technology problem. And so the team really hit it hard for like 6 months straight and came up with some very interesting solutions that sped up the process 5 to 10 times based on the kinds of sims that you're doing, meaning that an artist can interact much more often with the simulation. They can do it 2-3 times a day versus having to wait overnight or over 2 days to see something. And that just changes the way you think about setting it up and the kind of result you get. Oh, it's excellent. Yeah, we have a couple licenses. Yeah, it was one of the founders is a former ILMer. He worked on our sim tools back in the day. And I think you'll see that knowledge transfer happening quite often throughout the industry. Somebody goes, gets production experience, has an idea, feeds it into a company, brings it back to production and around and around. And that's very healthy for the industry. So we think it's a good thing to have other people developing simulations because we hope to use them someday. Yeah, I think it's gotten much more positive in recent years. I mean, it was never bad, but it was really kind of different agendas, it felt like. And it felt like the vendors didn't understand production very well, and production wasn't good at being proactive. We were too secretive. And I think what happens now is that the vendors are really trying to understand our world, and we're being more open with them and with each other. And so there's a lot more collaboration going on, and it just leads to better results. You don't want to have each studio and each vendor reinventing the same boring thing that doesn't end up on the screen, costing a lot of money. You want everybody spending their resources on the things that will make a difference.